In Chapter 3, Section 1, we looked at these angles that are formed. And now we're going to look at the relationship if we have parallel lines, and we're going to look at the relationship between those angles. So if we have a set of parallel lines here, we're going to start out, we're given that A is parallel to B. We're going to call these lines A and B. We're going to look at corresponding angles, and I'm going to mark those right there, angle 1 and angle 2. If we have parallel lines and a transversal, our corresponding angles are congruent. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. And over here, I'm going to say something like, if we have parallel lines, then corresponding angles are congruent. And I kind of wrote that with a little bit of a shorthand. Your next one is alternate interior angles. Again, we're going to start with parallel lines. And these little arrows on the lines indicate parallel lines. And this time we're looking at alternate interior angles. And our hypothesis is C is parallel to D. And our alternate interior angles are also going to be congruent. So over here, we're going to write, if we have parallel lines, alternate interior angles are congruent. If you have parallel lines, alternate interior angles are congruent. The third one is our alternate exterior angles. And again, we're going to start with parallel lines. And I'm going to say if E is parallel to F, I'm going to call these two alternate exterior angles, angle 5 and angle 6. If your lines are parallel, alternate exterior angles are congruent. And over here on the left, I'm going to say if we have parallel lines, alternate exterior angles are congruent. The first three types of angles that we looked at, corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, are all congruent. The last two are not congruent. If we look at same side interior angles, and I'm going to call those 7 and 8, and I'm going to call my lines G and H. If G is parallel to H, those angles cannot be congruent. One is obtuse and one is acute. But those angles are supplementary. They add to 180 degrees. So over here on the left, if we have parallel lines, your same side interior angles add to 180 degrees. And the last one, same side exterior angles. If angle I is parallel to angle J, and we're going to call these angles 9 and 10, angle 9 plus angle 10 equals 180 degrees. So if we have parallel lines, your same side exterior angles add to 180 degrees. So same side interior, same side exterior, add to 180. Down at the bottom of the page, we're asked to find some angle measures. We should be given these lines are parallel. Angle 125 and angle 1 are alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior angles have the same measure, so that's 125. And then to figure out angle 2, I would use the linear pair theorem. 180 minus 125 is 55 degrees. Letter B, we're trying to find angle QRS, which is right here. These two are same side interior. They are not congruent. They add to 180. So we would do 180 minus 18, and I think that is 62 degrees. At the top of the next page, we have two very similar problems. We need to come up with all of the angle measures. This angle right here is 130 degrees. We could find angle 5 by vertical angles, which is also 130 degrees. Angle 1 would be corresponding, so that would be 130 degrees. And angle 4 would be a vertical angle right there, so that would also be 130 degrees. So 1 is 130, 4 is 130, and 5 is 130. To figure out the angles next to that, we will do 180, subtract 130, because that's a straight line, and those other angles will all be 50 degrees. So angle 2 is 50 degrees, angle 3 is 50 degrees, angle 6 is 50 degrees, angle 7 is 50 degrees. And you'll notice that all 8 of those angles are either 130 degrees or 50 degrees. And the next example, this angle is 70, so we can use corresponding angles are congruent. Alternate exterior angles are congruent. Vertical angles are congruent. And that tells us that angle 2 is 70 degrees. Angle 4 is 70 degrees. Angle 6 is 70 degrees. And the other 4 angles will all have the same measure. We can use our linear pair theorem. 180 minus 70 is 110. And all of those other angles will be 110 degrees. So angle 1 is 110 degrees, angle 3 is 110 degrees, angle 5 is 110 degrees, and angle 7 is 110 degrees.